Obviously, a lot went on during your Big Brother experience.
Yes.
Mickey Rourke obviously was a big headline, him, getting ejected from the show. At the time that happened, did you feel like that was the right decision from the producer and the network's decision?
Yeah, I think a lot of people argue that he should have gone earlier. Back up, soldier.
Don't eyeball me.
Mickey, it's a joke.
Don't eyeball me.
This is Big Brother. Mickey, come to the diary room immediately.
I don't have dishonorable intention. I'm just talking smack. Boy, did I get chewed out.
You got in trouble?
Oh, yeah, big time.
Mickey Rourke threatened with eviction from the celebrity Big Brother house after a conversation with JoJo Siwa about her sexuality.
I knew trouble awaited us, and not the good trouble. 72-year-old was given a formal warning after pulling an Alexander O'Neill on JoJo Siwa. He would either voluntarily quit or be kicked out of the Celebrity Big Brother UK house shortly.
And I think there's been a lot of he only left when, and I honestly, I do agree with the producer's decision to, and I don't know if, I genuinely don't know if the producers chose to evict him or if he said, I'm leaving. I don't know how that went down.
In this preview clip of the UK series, we get a sneak peek of the aftermath.
You can't say that, Mickey.
One breath at a time, troops, one breath at a time.
But what actually goes down in the new episode airing Wednesday night? Well, according to reports, the Oscar winner asks JoJo whether she likes boys or girls, then promises, if I can stay longer than 4 days, you won't be gay anymore. He threatens to, quote, vote the lesbian out. Mickey Rourke booted from the Celebrity Big Brother house days after his homophobic remarks left JoJo Siwa in tears.
I'm going to vote the lesbian out real quick.
JoJo.
That's homophobic.
If I stay longer than 4 days, you won't be gay anymore. I'll tie you up.
Mickey, you can't say that.
I think that was the right time because I think sometimes you have to see somebody's story through. And I think Mickey with me on day one, was that enough to get him evicted? Yes, absolutely. But if he would have, we wouldn't have gotten to see those other sides and those other flavors. And we also wouldn't have had as many laughs as we did. He would have never gotten pranked as Billy. You know what I mean? There's so many things that happened and so many good moments that happened with him.
Uses a homophobic slur, which was caught on camera.
They didn't say out of meanness.
I understand it. You might have thought it would be uninsulting, but it's the way it's perceived on other people. So JoJo was very upset earlier, bless her, but
You were? Sorry.
we're still upset.
What if I told you that the most explosive moment from Celebrity Big Brother never aired? Not even in the late night feed, not even in the highlights. Because the second it happened, the cameras were pulled. JoJo Siwa, the sparkly pop icon with the rainbow wardrobe and powerhouse fanbase, went toe-to-toe with none other than Mickey Rourke, the Oscar-nominated Hollywood veteran known for playing violent, unpredictable characters both on and off screen. And while most viewers were busy watching some awkward kitchen banter or slow-motion laughs from the jacuzzi, what really happened that night was quietly erased from public view. We're talking about an unaired blow-up so intense, producers scrambled to shut it down in real time. And before anyone could ask questions, Rourke was gone, evicted from the house in the middle of the night without a proper explanation, exit interview, or even a goodbye. But here's the twist. JoJo didn't just hint at what happened later, she spelled it out in a bombshell interview, claiming that Mickey Rourke intentionally tried to offend her, cornered her in the kitchen, and even admitted on the spot that he was trying to peed her off. And when she confronted him, his response wasn't shock or regret, it was smug satisfaction. Even worse?
So we've got some big news coming in from the Celebrity Big Brother house that Mickey Rourke has been issued a formal warning for being homophobic towards JoJo Siwa. In scenes that are going to air in tonight's show, Mickey tells Chris that he's going to vote the lesbian out real quick.
According to insiders, the live feed was yanked within seconds of the slur being heard, and producers locked the footage away. But now, the story's getting out. JoJo has finally broken her silence. Rourke's team is threatening legal action. And fans are starting to ask the question, what else are reality TV shows hiding behind their polished edits? Let's pull the curtain back on what really happened inside the Big Brother house. Because once you hear this story, you'll never look at reality television the same way again. And trust me, this was no scripted drama. The moment JoJo Siwa and Mickey Rourke were announced as housemates, fans had questions. Was this genius casting eek or a recipe for disaster? JoJo, just 21 years old, is known for her glitter, bows, TikTok dances, and bold LGBTQ+ advocacy. She's loud, proud, and shines like a neon sign. Her fans die hard. Her brand, unshakably Gen Z. Then there's Mickey Rourke, 72, gruff, unpredictable, with a face that's seen 1,000 bar fights, and a voice that sounds like it smoked every one of them.
JoJo then overhears and says, "That's homophobic if that's your reasoning." Chris tells Mickey that he can't do that, and Mickey then interjects and says, "I need a fag," gestures to JoJo and says, "I'm not talking to you." JoJo's left upset by that interaction and gets comforted by Chris.
He's the guy Hollywood calls when they want a tortured anti-hero with zero filter. The man once compared acting to boxing and openly admits he doesn't play nice. So when these two shared the same kitchen counter, the contrast wasn't just generational, it was philosophical. At first, it seemed like the producers were trying to stir the pot, intentionally placing them together in challenges, positioning their beds within whispering distance, and highlighting every awkward exchange with a cheeky soundtrack. It felt like the show wanted tension. They got more than they bargained for. From day one, Rourke made passive-aggressive comments. He teased JoJo's wardrobe, rolled his eyes during her high-energy confessionals, and at one point reportedly mumbled something about rainbow kids running the world now. JoJo laughed it off, on camera, but you could see the tension tightening behind her smile. By day 3, things started to bubble. Rourke dropped a tone-deaf joke at breakfast, saying he'd vote the lesbian out first. Nothing personal. Everyone froze. JoJo didn't react. But Zara McDermott gave a sharp glance to the diary room camera, like she was begging producers to step in. ITV didn't air that moment. In fact, that clip was suspiciously absent from the next day's episode. Instead, viewers got harmless montages of housemates giggling about who stole the last banana.
As I shared with you all earlier this week, housemate and washed-up actor Mickey Rourke was less than kind to JoJo Siwa.
But inside the house, the mood had changed. Producers issued a formal warning to Rourke, a stern sit-down. No slurs, no personal attacks. Keep it clean. Rourke shrugged it off. And that, right there, was the beginning of the end. Because when a man like Mickey Rourke feels censored, he doesn't usually back down. He pushes further. And JoJo Siwa, she wasn't going to let anyone push her off her game. What came next wasn't just tension, it was total meltdown. It happened late at night. The house was quiet, the lights were dim, and most of the housemates were either asleep or winding down. JoJo was in the kitchen, microwaving something sweet, probably her nightly cocoa. Mickey walked in behind her, slowly, like he had something to say. What happened next was never shown on TV, but JoJo later revealed exactly how it went down. He stood behind her, real close enough to whisper, and then he said it. "That rainbow sheet won't make you bulletproof." JoJo turned, confused. "What does that even mean?" she asked. And Mickey didn't hesitate. He reportedly looked her dead in the eye and said, "That was my intention. That's why I did it."
He used some derogatory language towards the former Dance Moms star turned influencer and gay pop goddess. That description is funny. What Mickey Rourke said was not funny.
Because I knew it would pour you off, and I wanted to. Yes, you heard that right. According to JoJo's own words, he admitted that he was trying to provoke her, on purpose. And that wasn't even the worst part. Right there in the kitchen, in front of at least 2 other housemates, he dropped a full-on slur. A short 5-letter word that hits hard in LGBTQ+ circles. One that we won't repeat here. It wasn't subtle. It wasn't a slip-up. It was aimed straight at JoJo like a punch to the gut. The room froze. David Potts, who was doing dishes just feet away, later described the moment as paralyzing. He said it felt like watching a grenade go off in slow motion. Everyone just stood still, not sure what to do. JoJo didn't cry, she didn't yell, she just stared at him and said one sentence that would later echo across social media. "You don't break me, Mickey. You expose yourself." Seconds later, the live feed was gone. Cut, replaced by silent footage of the garden. Viewers at home saw nothing. Inside the house, though, panic. Security was alerted, producers rushed in. The rest of the cast were instructed to stay in their rooms.
JoJo Siwa is upsettingly receiving a lot of homophobia in the celebrity Big Brother house, as another celebrity just used a homophobic slur directly at her.
Mickey was told to wait outside in the garden until further notice. He lit a cigarette, smirked, and muttered something under his breath. Witnesses say he looked completely unbothered, but what he didn't know was that the decision had already been made. And Mickey Rourke was about to be removed. While the rest of the house tried to make sense of what just happened, Mickey Rourke sat in the garden like it was any other night, smoking, pacing, maybe even proud of himself. He didn't look shaken. He looked satisfied. But inside the control room, producers were scrambling. They had a major problem on their hands. A celebrity contestant had just used a homophobic slur, admitted he did it to provoke another contestant, and made everyone in the house visibly uncomfortable. They couldn't pretend this didn't happen, and they couldn't air it either. So at 2:07 a.m., a decision was made. Rourke had to go. Quietly. Immediately. No dramatic music, no exit interview, no warning to the viewers. Security entered through the side door of the house. 2 guards escorted Mickey through the garden and into the diary room. He didn't resist. He didn't apologize. All he reportedly said was, "You'll be hearing from my lawyer." Producers issued a brief internal memo. Rourke had violated multiple house rules, including hate speech guidelines. His contract would not be honored. He would receive none of his remaining pay. By the time the sun rose, Mickey Rourke was gone. No one in the house had spoken to him. No cameras showed him packing. His bed was just empty.
Which then literally caused her to break down crying.
I'm gonna vote the lesbian out. I need a fan.
So on just day 2 of Big Brother, which if you remember was the same show Trisha Paytas quit because she couldn't stand living with those people anymore.
The next morning, the rest of the housemates gathered at the breakfast table, bleary-eyed and confused. That's when the voice of Big Brother came over the speaker. "This is Big Brother. Mickey has left the house and will not be returning. Please do not speculate. Further information will not be provided." JoJo sat in silence. She didn't smile. She didn't gloat. But you could tell it was a release. The pressure had been building for days. And now, it was finally over. Or at least, that's what the show wanted you to believe. Because when the episode aired later that night, viewers saw none of it. No confrontation, no tension, just a vague voiceover saying Mickey had chosen to leave. No mention of the slur, no reason given, no footage of what really happened. And just like that, the biggest scandal of the season vanished, buried by edits, spin, and corporate damage control. But the silence didn't last long, because outside the house, the truth was about to go public. The show tried to bury it, but JoJo Siwa, she wasn't going to stay silent. Just days after her unexpected rise as the frontrunner in Celebrity Big Brother, JoJo sat down for an interview with the New York Post, and she didn't hold back. She confirmed what many had already suspected. Yes, Mickey Rourke had used a homophobic slur. Yes, it was aimed at her. And yes, he even admitted it was intentional. "He looked me in the face," JoJo said, "and told me he wanted to upset me, that it was on purpose, that hurting me was the point."
JoJo Siwa became the target of Mickey Rourke, who is a 72-year-old American actor who was in things like Iron Man 2 and The Wrestler. He clearly had a huge issue with her being a lesbian and started following her around the house saying, "I'm gonna vote out the lesbian."
That quote hit like a lightning bolt across the internet. Clips of the interview went viral. Fans flooded the comment sections demanding answers from ITV. Release the Footage started trending within hours. And suddenly, the sanitized version of events aired by the network was unraveling in real time. But here's where it got even more intense. JoJo didn't just call out Rourke, she also called out the show. "I understand why producers didn't air it," she said, "but I also think it's time reality TV stops hiding real harm for the sake of good vibes." She didn't want revenge, she wanted accountability. Meanwhile, Mickey Rourke was nowhere to be seen. His team released a short, vague statement claiming he was under emotional stress and had no intent to offend.
So do you like girls or boys?
Me? Girls.
I know, I can tell. If I stay longer than 4 days, you won't be gay anymore.
I can guarantee I will still be gay and I will still be in a very happy relationship.
I'll tie you up. We all vote each other out?
Yeah.
Yeah, eventually.
I'm gonna vote the lesbian out real quick.
That's homophobic?
Eh?
So that's homophobic if that was your reasoning?
But behind the scenes, things were messy. According to Variety, Rourke had already sent legal notices to ITV claiming he was unfairly portrayed, wrongfully removed, and that they still owed him the rest of his contract. His lawyers argued that creative editing and failure to mediate damaged his public image. But here's the thing, no one was buying it. Every time Rourke tried to defend himself, JoJo's words hit harder. She wasn't just telling a story, she was taking control of it. She even released a brand new single just a week later titled Bulletproof. The lyrics? A not-so-subtle reference to the line she used in the kitchen, "You don't break me. You expose yourself." And that moment, right there, shifted the entire narrative. This wasn't just a behind-the-scenes scuffle anymore. It became a story about power, about what's allowed on television, and about what happens when a network decides to hit mute instead of showing the truth. But JoJo's truth was out now, and things were only getting messier. As JoJo Siwa's interview gained traction, the internet did what the network wouldn't: fill in the blanks. Clips were dissected, timelines were matched. Reddit threads pieced together fan-captured live feed glitches and audio anomalies from that now infamous night. And the conclusion was unanimous. Something major had been cut. What started as whispers became a movement. Fans weren't just shocked, they were furious. The hashtag #release the footage exploded across X, TikTok, and Instagram. Influencers weighed in. LGBTQ+ advocacy groups posted open letters. Even former Big Brother contestants chimed in, calling the decision to edit around hate speech a betrayal of trust. ITV stayed quiet for a while.
No, we can't discuss this. This is undiscussable.
The lesbian I'm going to vote out.
No, you can't.
All the house guests were secretly cringing and trying to get him to stop, but he would only take it farther.
Can't do that, Mickey.
You also can't say that.
I need a fag. Not talking to you.
You can't say that.
Then came the official statement. Mickey Rourke departed the Celebrity Big Brother house due to a breach of conduct, and producers made decisions to protect the well-being of all housemates. That only made things worse. People weren't asking why Rourke was removed anymore. They were asking why it was hidden. Why weren't viewers told the truth? Why did the broadcast pretend it never happened? One viral tweet put it bluntly, reality TV wants the drama until it's real. Then it edits the victim and protects the abuser. Ouch. Meanwhile, JoJo stayed calm, but not silent. She posted a TikTok lip-syncing to "You Should See Me in a Crown" with the caption, "Some people think muting the mic stops the truth. Not anymore." It got over 10 million views in 24 hours. Fans also pointed out how the show's official YouTube clips continued featuring harmless montages, laughing over cereal, harmless pranks, but none of the tension that had clearly shaken the house. Even Zara McDermott, who stayed silent at first, posted a cryptic Instagram story. Sometimes silence is compliance. Not everyone was okay with what went down. The network scrambled to regain control. A tell-all reunion was floated, then scrapped. An apology was drafted, then walked back. Because here's the problem, the truth was already out. And fans weren't just questioning Mickey Rourke anymore, they were questioning the show. Was this really about protecting JoJo or protecting the brand? And in that moment, Big Brother faced a different kind of spotlight, one it couldn't edit away. But behind closed doors, the legal fight was just beginning, and Mickey wasn't done throwing punches. Once it was clear the story wasn't going away, Mickey Rourke did what many expected. He lawyered up. According to reports from Variety and The Sun, Rourke's legal team fired off a cease and desist to ITV demanding full payment of his appearance fee, rumored to be £500,000.
Thankfully, this very nice young man had JoJo's back and let her cry in his arms.
It's crazy to me that still exists.
Wait, you're getting upset, aren't you?
And then Mickey was taken into the diary room, which is where they yell at you if you do something wrong, and gave him a strict warning that if he does this again, he will be removed from the house.
They claimed his contract had been violated, that his removal was unlawful, and that his character had been irreparably damaged by the network's handling of the situation. His team also claimed producers created a volatile environment by casting him alongside someone they knew he might clash with, calling it intentional provocation for ratings. Let that sink in. He wasn't just defending what he said, he was flipping the script, blaming the show for setting him up. The documents leaked anonymously even accused ITV of deliberately concealing context to make him look worse. They demanded access to raw footage, arguing that if the network refused to show what really happened, then Rourke couldn't properly defend himself in the court of public opinion or actual court. But here's the twist. Legal insiders say Rourke's case isn't strong. His contract reportedly included strict clauses around hate speech, harassment, and bringing the network into disrepute. And if producers can prove that he violated those terms, even once, they don't owe him a cent. Meanwhile, JoJo stayed above the legal mudslinging. She told Entertainment Tonight she didn't care about lawsuits, only that the truth is out and I can move forward. But she did hint at something deeper. What scares them isn't what Mickey said, it's what they chose to hide. And she's not wrong, because even as lawyers fought behind the scenes, the industry was watching, quietly, closely. Executives from other networks began reconsidering how their shows handle on-camera conflicts. Contracts were reviewed. Reality show producers started whispering about the Siwa clause, an unofficial term for revisiting how hate speech and identity-based attacks are monitored, reported, and aired. This wasn't just a PR mess anymore. It was becoming a blueprint for change. And Mickey, he may have walked out of that house thinking he could outlast the headlines. But the truth is, he wasn't fighting JoJo Siwa. He was fighting the moment, and the moment had already moved on. At first glance, this might have looked like a typical reality TV scandal. Two polar opposites thrown into a house. One says something offensive, producers cut the feed, fans get angry, and the news cycle moves on.
Then he ended up giving her a very half-hearted apology where he said, I didn't mean it in an offensive way, and sometimes I just have a short fuse, which seems like an oxymoron within itself, so he's just homophobic and should be out of the house. JoJo graciously accepted because she is very forgiving. And you know what? She is the CEO of gay pop. I love you, JoJo. But as always, make sure to follow for updates because in Patty, we trust.
But this wasn't just another tabloid moment. This was a clash between generations, between values, between what we accept as entertainment and what we no longer will. JoJo Siwa didn't just stand her ground. She exposed a system that spent years packaging tension as drama, masking harm as banter, and protecting reputations over people. And while the network hoped this would blow over, it did something else instead. It blew up. Because this time, the victim wasn't silenced. This time, the audience noticed the silence, and they demanded better. They weren't just asking, what did Mickey say? They were asking, why weren't we shown? Why did a network, which promotes diversity and inclusion, feel the need to hide one of the most relevant conversations happening in that very house? And the answer is uncomfortable, because even in 2025, some producers still believe that showing real harm is bad for business, when in reality, hiding it is what breaks trust. And it's that broken trust that turns fans into critics and drama into controversy. JoJo Siwa came into the Big Brother house as the pop girl with the glitter bows and sparkles. She left it as a symbol of resilience, of accountability, of not backing down when someone tries to shrink you. As for Mickey Rourke, he walked in with a reputation and left with a reminder that no matter how famous you are, the world has changed, and not everything can be laughed off anymore. So here's the real question. When networks choose what we see and what gets buried, who are they really protecting? The audience, the brand, or the people causing the harm? And maybe more importantly, who speaks up when the cameras stop rolling? Because as this story proves, reality TV might edit out the truth, but eventually someone will say it anyway. If you've got thoughts, don't hold back. Drop them in the comments. And if you think the footage should have aired, say it loud. Because sometimes the only way to keep reality honest is to keep watching. Thanks for being here. Stay sharp. Stay kind. And remember, when someone tries to silence the truth, it usually means it's worth hearing.